Hello grade 10, welcome back to school. We're going to do some more string handling. Now you'll remember that we discussed all of these string handling methods, some functions and some procedures, which you'll find this Word document in your file section of Teams, in the data files for your activities every day, so you can go and look over it again. We're going to use these functions again, these methods. Methods is the collective noun for functions and procedures. Right, now in this one, you'll see that we have an edit box here for people to enter a string, and then another edit box here for people to enter a character or another string. So a big long string there, and we have another shorter string here. There's also a spin edit, which we'll use later on, but for now we're going to use this button which says enter a sentence in the first edit, like this one, EDT strings, and then enter a string or a character in the second edit, which is this one, EDT chars, and display the position number of the small string in the large string. Position number, so we want to find the position number of the small string inside a large string. So what we're going to do is we're going to get our input from EDT strings and get the input from EDT chars. So I'm going to make some variables here, s line and s short. Just make up some variables and then go and store them from the edit boxes. Okay, now we've got to find the position of the short string which is in the larger string. How do we find the position? Well, we use our function called pos, which returns an integer. So we're going to get an integer variable here, our pos, and we'll say our pos equals pos, which is the name of the function, of the short string inside s line, and our pos will then be displayed. We can now display it in a show message, int to string our pos. Remember, our pos is an integer, so we have to convert it to a string to put it into a show message component. Run the program and I'll show you how it works. So we type here I like school. We put the word like in here, and we click the button, and it says it's in position number 3. Now what if there were capitals? What if I typed a capital L-I-K-E? Well, we wouldn't find it, eh? Nope, we won't find capitals and small letters. So what we have to do to solve that, we change everything to uppercase, and then we find. Simple. And then we know for sure that we'll find a match. Okay, that one's easy. Now, next one. Okay, let's go and display the length of a string that's entered into this string EDT string. So double click the button, we want the length of EDT strings. Now you must remember that there's a function called length. There it is, it returns an integer, and we can call that integer anything you want. var length, colon integer. Take note, I put an I in front of length because it's a variable, or I can call it rlen, anything I want. And then we say rlen equals length, which is the function name of EDT strings dot text, and then all we do is display the length in a show message component. So we'll say show message int to string rlen. go. And that will display the length of the string that's entered into I like school. Click the button, and 13 is the length of that string from EDT strings. Right, that was easy. Next one is copy. Copy and display the first name of a person's full name that's entered in EDT strings. We've got to copy, if you say John Doe, then you want to just get the first name, which is John, and we assume the person's going to type in the one name and then a space and then a surname. So we go and get the name from EDT strings. Call this name, and we say s name equals EDT strings dot text. Now we want to get the first name from the name, okay? So let's say they typed John Doe. We want to copy the first 4 characters here, or it's basically going to be the position of the space minus 1. What's the position of the space in this string? It is 5. So if we say 5 minus 1, then we know 4 is the position of the last character, which also translates to the length of the word John in this case. So if we get a position of a space in any string, we can go and copy from character number 1 all the way to the end, position of the space minus 1. Now it looks quite easy when you see it over there. What we're going to do is we're going to use copy, and we're going to use pos, because we want to get the position of the space in a string. A person can type Janet or Jane or any other name and then a space. So we don't know what anyone's going to type in. We don't know what the input will be, but we have to get position of the space. So let's go get the position of the space first. I'll call it rpos space integer data type, and we're going to use pos to get the position of the space. Pos of the space in s name. There it is, we've got the position of the space. Now if the person had entered John Doe, position of the space in this case would be 5. Cool. So now we want to copy and store it into a string. So I'm going to make a string called s first equals copy from s name starting at 1, the number of characters. First of all, let's go and look at our copy function. It's a function, copy is a function. There it is, yellow highlighted. Copy function has 3 parameters: where we're copying from, the starting position, and then the third one is the number of characters. Those 3 things are needed in this copy function, and we've always got to have our string equal to it, because copy is a function. It goes on the right hand side of the equal sign. So if we remember that we have these 3 parameters: the string you're copying from, an integer for the starting position, in other words the character we want to start copying, and the third parameter is how many characters, and that's also an integer. If you can get those things, then you're fine. So what we're going to do is we're starting from character number 1, and that's easy enough, but because it's the first name. But how do we find out how many characters? Well, if you have a look at the string here, remember I said the pos of the space minus 1 will give us the first name. That's how many characters. We're 4 in this case. So we've got the pos of the space, haven't we? There it is. So we say rpos space minus 1, and there we have the first name. And how do we display that? Display the first name. So I'm just going to show message is first. See? That was easy too. So I'm going to run the program, and then we're going to see how it works. So I'm going to write John Doe here, click the button, and there's the name John. Right, so we must do an activity now for marks, and I'll see you tomorrow.